You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Lost treasure, ancient secrets, power beyond reckoning. Thorncrest Resource Solutions brings you the future by reclaiming the past. From relic retrieval to secure artifact containment, we ensure that history serves progress, not chaos. Need discretion? Need results? You need Thorncrest. Because some things were never meant to be found. For everything else, there's Thorncrest.
Hi, everybody. So, welcome back. We are on episode 2 of the game I've entitled The Doom That Came to Sanctaris. We are here to see what happens. I'm not going to say, as Ed usually does, I can't do anything about my lovely players, but I'm just going to say, guys, who are you? Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and I play the character Captain Carter Heek of the Shadow Vanguard. And he is the planet's most handsome Tynan, providing that you're into Tynan.
Hi, I'm Lou. I'm playing Kuro Arak, a Shistavanen, maybe ex-valet of Colonel LeRoux. We'll find out. I'm probably out of a job.
Hi, I'm Ross. I play Savriel Soy, a Nautilin with a gun and a professional attitude.
And hello, I am Adam, and I'm playing Rokeo Balazari, a Kalanat Seer of the Church of Neridia.
You have been summoned to the estate of Colonel LeRoux, drawn northward through the dark rain-slick roads by a mysterious invitation from an old friend. The grand house loomed in the storm, its windows aglow with warmth of the gathering, but now the warmth feels like a cruel deception. The reason for the invitation: the prism of Corinth sits on the dining room table, the firelight casting deep purple shadows across the wall. The glow from the prism is enough to illuminate and reveal the faces of the guests and their expression, frozen in a mix of terror and bewilderment. The shadows elongate and contort, creating an otherworldly atmosphere in the room. Lambert LeRoux lays motionless in Kuro's arms, choked by some unseen hand, perhaps the very artifact that sits before you. It is clear that LeRoux's discovery is no mere treasure. It has awakened something ancient and cruel, and now a question hangs heavy in the air. What or who has claimed his life? It is dark in the room. All you can see by is the firelight and the glow of this fist-sized crystal. Nobody is reacting right now. Everybody is in shock. But what are you guys doing? How do you react?
Dr. Finch, can I impose upon you?
Finch is in shock. He's standing quite close to you, but for a second he doesn't focus on anything you're saying, and then a second or two, and he snaps down and goes, what's going on?
Attend to the patient, Doctor.
He snaps back into everything and kneels down, and I imagine you kind of rest him down so he can attend to him. Yep. He's not breathing, he says. And somebody get my bag. The butler has already left. As soon as this all started and the lights went off, he stepped out of the room. And one of the servants, not the butler, comes back in almost immediately with the doctor's bag, which he cracks open. It's one of these old-fashioned leather doctor's bags. He cracks open.
Gladstone.
Yeah, a Gladstone bag, that's right. And starts pulling out various different things. He's looking to his airway. He brings out a stethoscope and starts hearing for his heartbeat.
Mikey, Carter would like to immediately identify the dangerous thing in the room that's causing a hazard, identify the environmental safety for it, which is the box, and make a grab not for the I'm going to call it cursed artifact, not make it go for the cursed artifact, but a go for the box.
You reach over towards where the box is. Lady Vale has had a similar idea, but has gone for the crystal. You both get to the box and the crystal at about the same time. Adam, what are you doing?
I have recoiled back from the table in shock stumbled a few steps back until my bad leg has managed to lock itself solid. And as I see them, sense them reaching for the box and the crystal, I go, Lady Vale, do not touch that crystal with your bare hands. Whatever it has, it resonates strongly, and I fear it may have an ill effect on you. Please, let the captain fetch the box first. I would recommend none of us touch it with our bare hands.
You stop her from touching it. She was about to grab it, motives unknown, but she's about to grab it and she stops and just looks up at you nervously and then stares back at the light. One thing I would say, Adam, you stepped back and you've pushed yourself back towards where the window is. And as you push yourself back towards where the window is, you get the briefest idea there is somebody outside. But it's not there for very long. It's at the full extent of your sight. There was something outside. What do you do?
Savriel's backing away in the room just so you can get everybody inside. Mostly he's looking for cover, or looking for some way of making sure he or anybody else might be shielded from this glowing object because he thinks it's dangerous. But he's going to back off it because if he thinks a murder attempt has just occurred, then he's looking to see where everybody else in the room is moving. I think I'm going to try and look specifically towards Rilo, the librarian who was carrying the box a moment ago. What's he doing?
He seemingly is still in shock. He's a Twi'lek and he is quite well dressed in tweeds and kind of the things that you would expect from a scholar. And he is standing there frozen with his arms up. His eyes, black Twi'lek eyes, really wide. He doesn't seem to have expected this or know what to do.
Okay. I'm generally just trying to keep an eye on everybody, and that's including not just the guests, but also the servants who you would normally sort of pretend weren't present. You know, he's trying to work at where even they are as well.
They're all kind of frozen. You might say, because I want the players to do something. But no, there is no action in the staff. Everybody has been shocked by a very sudden and very violent act.
Can I rack my brains to see whether or not this form of dark miracle is recorded in any of the annals of the church's records of such things? I am an occultic and a mystic, as well as being a historian and scholar, and I am trained in some of the ritual magics of the church, so I want to just kind of quickly rack my brains. There are other much more capable people trying to deal with the immediacies of this, but that is so unnatural.
Can you roll me a lore check, please?
Yes, of course.
It's a more difficult roll. I'm going to have 3 dice, if that's all right.
Yep. Would anyone object to me flipping a light side point?
I would not.
Of course not.
Sounds like a good idea.
1 failure, but an advantage, because as Lou commented during the break, D1 hates us all today.
D1 always hates us. No, that's fine. You can't think of anything specific, but you know that a lot of the technology that they used on the horizon were very much like when in Solaris, crystal-based. So they keep a lot of information on drives that essentially are crystals. So it could be that this is a storage thing for information. It could be that it is a power source, but it's not unusual to find a crystal, maybe not this size, that would reveal information or technology like that. So, I mean, and you don't remember seeing any that glow, but if this is a powerful information source, then maybe.
I was more thinking about the choking, the lifting and the choking.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
It's more what I was meaning. Yeah.
Of those who are seekers, of those who are sages, you know that there is the capacity and capability to physically affect people. So you can push them, you can pull them, you can raise them off the ground, things like that. You've never seen or heard of anything that might be violent, but potentially?
Yeah.
What's your advantage going to be used?
To be honest, I'm happy with my advantage being used for that I know that there are miracles that let you affect things physically, just not this specific miracle or how it works.
You could extrapolate that this could be possible.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know anything like, do I need line of sight? Could it be part of a trap within this thing?
No,
I'm just aware that it is a miracle.
That's right.
Okay.
Ed, the box is there. Nobody else has gone for it.
Grab the box and then use that to contain the crystal.
It is not a heavy box. Clearly, it's the crystal that has the weight to it. How are you going to be covering the crystal? Are you going to be picking it up, or are you just literally going to put it on top of it?
Does the box have a lid?
It does. It's like a little treasure box.
Then I'm going to scooch.
Okay. Difficult because the wood is quite thick and the crystal is not round, so you'd have to move it into the box somehow.
Whip off my hat, cover my hand.
Yep.
Use that to move it across, and essentially manipulate one into the other.
Coordination roll, please.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you a difficulty of 2. It's not a difficult thing, but it has repercussions if you don't do it greatly. I'm going to flip a dark side point as well. So that is 1 red and 1 purple.
2 success and 2 threat.
You get the device into the box, but unfortunately the threat means that just ever so slightly you touch it with your little finger as you're pulling it across, and you feel the weight of it. You feel the... You feel that in this situation, it is the center of everything, and you are just there. You feel kind of small while touching it. It is an item that is clearly ancient and clearly communicative, but you have no real way of knowing what it's saying. I'm going to have you take a couple of strain, but it's specifically from touching the item.
There's a deep and heavy breath because, he's stuck his hands into a power source before in order to shut down the power source. There is a moment also of, anger itself, unproductive self-admonishment as the gloves that he'd taken off to have a drink.
Yeah.
Even though they're fingerless, he's like, should have kept those on. City, Tynan, I know better. And I channel, I'm visibly annoyed at myself for, letting my hand catch it, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And as I slammed the box closed,
mm-hmm.
Am I okay? Would it make sense for this character to have somewhere in his, equipment, some flimsies, some, little pieces of parchment?
Yeah.
And I slam on this piece of sticky parchment where it says, hazard.
Yep. I'll come back to you slamming it closed in a second, because I want to tell Adam that when he touches the box, it's almost imperceptible to everybody else. But with your sight, you see the prism ground itself through Ed. Very much like when people touch a plasma ball. A light from the prism arcs its way down his arm and through and grounds itself through the floor.
Does Carter have essentially a One Ring moment where touches the cursed thing and goes, no? I feel like the Shadow Vanguard possibly has a treatise somewhere here on do not consume arcane power supplies.
Yeah, generally thought that you don't mess with things that you don't necessarily understand. You're engineers. So, until it's...
He says out loud, this is definitely something that needs a priest.
And you close the box, and the room is properly plunged into darkness. The only light from the fire. Lou, he's not responding. He isn't. The doctor is trying his best, and he is at the moment pulling out a small kit which he's opening with a syringe in it.
I will leave the doctor to his task, go outside. Are there lights in here?
In the entire house?
Yeah.
As the servant came in with the bag, you saw that the rest of the house was plunged into darkness, and as you stand up to reconnoitre exactly what's going on in the house, this room is plunged into darkness as the Tynan closes the box, just illuminating everybody from the fire at the side of the room.
Are we at a point where we have electric lights inside, or is it gas lamp?
It's electric. The candles on the table, though, have also gone out. There is no wind.
Yeah, and the entire house is in darkness.
Yeah.
I'm going to step outside the door, have a look for Tolvin, see if he's there.
Tolvin is coming down from the upstairs. He is carrying with him a rifle, a proper one of the artifacts. It's being held in a way that you would imagine a butler holding a gun, in a very kind of organised, kind of out with his hands. He's not walking down with it equipped. He's holding it in his hands, and he is walking down the stairs with purpose. He sees you in the glow of the various different fires around the house, and he says, there was a scream outside. You didn't hear a scream, but he's connected to the entire house, so...
Mr. Tolvin, can you gather all of the staff into the kitchen and keep them there? I will investigate it.
He nods. He takes the gun and he walks back into the kitchen. He's clearly bringing it to his wife. Back in the dining room.
I think as the box was closed and sealed,
Yes.
I slump as a tension kind of goes out of my spine from being connected to this. And I make my way over to the captain, because I can still perceive in the darkness with my connection to the Force. Captain, when you touched that, I sensed an energy ground itself through you. Would you permit me a moment to examine your spiritual connection to make sure there has been no infection from whatever it is that this power source has and that may well have killed our friend?
Of course. I'm feeling slightly elevated. My hand is slightly burnt. I feel like the wind has been pushed out of me, and I experienced a mild and disturbing hallucination. But do what you need to do.
I have a suite of sensory-based force powers, Mikey. So I've got Farsight, Foresee, and Sense.
Yeah.
Would any of those allow me to gauge whether or not there has been an infection of dark magic, which is, of course, how Rakeo will perceive it. We know it as the dark side of the Force, but to Rakeo it is dark magic.
Yeah. I think you probably can. I think we'd be more going towards Sense, but it's... You don't have a specific tool for this, so essentially what you're going to have to do is open yourself up to try and sense the local area almost. Roll me a force dice, and we'll see how you feel. You know, it's we'll work out how successful you are by seeing what your roll is.
Yeah. So leaning on his staff, he raises his right hand above the captain's head. Again, would be closing his eyes if he had them to close, and utters under his breath, Neridia, through your child Luma, grant me the ability to sense the unseen. Grant me the sight that does not require eyes to see, to sense whether or not my friend here has been infected by the dark miracle which has so grievously wounded our host. Channel your blessing through me and allow me to see what cannot be seen. That is a dark side point.
It's not a surprise as to why there is a feeling of the dark side here. You feel you could probably open yourself up to sense this, but you are so close to this crystal, to this prism, that opening yourself up will open yourself up to the crystal as well.
Yeah. I'm not going to spend that dark side point just yet, I think, because of that reason. Captain, I cannot... Even through the box, the crystal is too strong. It is... To you, it would be as if you had walked into a room where the lights were too bright and the smells were too strong and the music was too loud, and then you would be asked to eavesdrop on a conversation in the far corner. It is similar here. It is too overwhelming being this close to this relic.
The energy from the esoteric power source is disrupting your ability to detect any damage caused by the esoteric power source.
Yeah, at least this close to it. Later, when we have it secured more comfortably, I will check again. Until then, if you feel anything intrusive or unexpected, please let me know.
I understand how this sort of first aid works. And he pulls out a roll of tape and just on his little finger puts like a, like an electrician's black tape.
Yeah.
On it, just does that almost absentmindedly while they're talking. Yes, diagnosis is important for recovery. I understand. We need to put this box somewhere where there's lots of eyes on it and in clear sight at all times until we find somewhere to put it safe.
That or lock it in a reinforced safe of some form. Mr. Dusk, does the Colonel have a lead-lined safe in which we could place this for the moment? Speaking of, Doctor, how is the Colonel?
Everybody started to react. Obviously, Lady Vale was almost immediate to react. The Captain Sato has stood up and is trying to calm everything, but by being very loud, not helping at all. Dusk has not reacted yet. He's still in shock. But the Doctor is, at the moment, pulling open the Colonel's jacket and his shirt to reveal a bare chest. And he says... Kilokure, he says, with a clear worry on his face, and pulls out the big needle and then jams it straight into his chest and injects a clear liquid into him. The response, the reaction is immediate, and LeRoux's eyes flicker open, and he lets out a scream. You're not sure in pain or whatever, but there is this ah! As he starts breathing heavily. LeRoux is alive, but clearly dealing with a massive amount of adrenaline that's just been stabbed right into his chest. This brings Dusk back into the room, and he says, "Upstairs, in the upstairs. There's a safe." But that's pretty much all you get out of him. You've been in the solarium before, which is a big sunlit room, which is basically filled with all of the artifacts. It's basically like a museum for him. It's essentially originally was for a meditation room or a sun room, but is now used for storing various artifacts. And if anywhere in the house has somewhere that keeps things safe, it'll be up there.
I look round and say, did anyone see where the valet went? They'll know how to open the safe. We'll need at least 3 or 4 of us before we put the thing in, so we have witnesses.
I'll join you.
That is a good point. Lou?
I have drawn my gun and gone outside.
Okay. The storm is starting to be fairly... it's really getting into its throes. There is rumbles of thunder and far off lightning, and the rain is... not quite sheeting it down yet, but is heavy. You don't hear a scream, but you do see movement. About 30 feet off of the dining room window, there are shapes moving towards that part of the house.
I would like to have a look. Sneak if I can.
Do me a stealth roll.
What's difficulty?
Just a 2.
Do I get a boost because of the storm?
Yes, you most definitely get a boost because of the storm.
Yay! That is 3 successes and 1 threat.
Okay. I would like, because of the sudden crack into the storm, the threat is going to just be a strain. It is not the best weather for this sort of thing, but the 3 successes mean you can get way up close to them, and I am happy for you to, if this does kick off, or you want to react before anybody else, you will have the equivalent of a triumph at the start of the game, so you'll be able to do an action before anybody else.
Excellent, thank you.
More importantly, you're able to sneak up closer, and you can see about 6 figures. They are hunched. They're probably about 5 feet tall. They have very long arms. As they get closer to the window of the dining room, you can see from the firelight of the window that they are not human. They are probably looking a little bit more amphibious. They are, so not a colonist, not a Nemodian, not a Twi'lek, not, although they're sand-based, but not a...
Nautilin.
Nautilin. Sorry, my words just went not a Nautilin. They are smaller than, more hunched, more shoulders than legs. They're kind of carrot-shaped with big, long arms. They are carrying weapons. They're not carrying pistols. They're carrying jagged, almost improvised weapons. You see the glint of the light of the moon against what looks to be a large jawbone in one of their hands from a creature you've no idea, but a big creature. And they are making their way. They're obviously also sneaking, but you knew where they were. They're lit by the light of coming from the house, and they're making their way across.
I would like to use that roll effectively to go back into the house.
Yep.
Bar the doors.
Yep.
Basically, try and put things under lockdown so we can control
That's perfectly reasonable. That's a good idea. You use your extra action to back into the house, lock the doors, and put the bar over the doors. There's a big wooden bar that pulls down over the front door. And as that falls into space and is secure, you hear a scream. And I'll go back to the drawing room. There is a scream. With the lights off in the dining room, you can now see clearer outside. There's no reflection against the glass. The room in darkness, standing maybe 20 feet off from the room, are half a dozen eerie figures. Their bodies are sleek and sinewy. They move with a predatory grace as they advance closer to the house, and specifically the room you're in. The creature's eyes seem to pierce through the darkness and reflect silver off of the light of Celis. Their skins, even in this light, you can see are greens and browns and greys, bending seamlessly into the shadows, giving themselves an almost spectral appearance. Each creature clutches a weapon, primitive yet deadly, some weirdly jagged, some obsidian blades that glint ominously in the dim light, while others carry crude, spiked clubs fashioned from the bones of unknown beasts. As they move, their webbed fingers clutch onto the weapons tightly, their sharp, serrated teeth visible in the sunlight. I'd like everybody to roll initiative.
It's going to be vigilance, because we're all being taken by surprise. So I get 3 successes.
I get 3 advantage, but no successes.
I get a success and an advantage.
A success and a triumph.
You can see one minion group, but I'm rolling twice.
I currently can't see any of them. They're outside of my short range, so...
Oh no, they're just inside as they walk forward. You could sense them briefly on the cusp of your range, and they are now within short range as they 4 and 1 and 2 and 2.
Are you still using my rule where triumphs go first regardless?
Yeah.
So our initiative order is a PC, an NPC, a PC, an NPC, and then the remaining 2 PCs.
Okay, fantastic. Who would like to go first?
I'll go for it. I've got a rifle, but I rolled worst of all of us, so...
I can go first because I've got something to say as well.
Okay.
Go for it.
Before you start, Ross, is your rifle on your back? You were sitting down to dinner. Is your rifle in a big stand in the hallway?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
So it's probably less useful in this situation.
It's at short range away, but you don't have it right now. People with handguns and things like that could have them at dinner. Certainly, I know Ed's pistol is wrapped up so it's safe, but I think a rifle would probably be, if this was a little bit more...
A bit gauche.
Yeah, a bit more gauche, it'd be in a giant elephant's foot, but it's not, it's in a rack.
I mean, I have a pistol as well, and it's slightly more hidden away, but it's... Yeah, because you don't want to get these things out at dinner. Yeah.
You can definitely have the pistol, but people don't bring rifles to dinner.
No, that wouldn't be polite.
So, Ed, you're going first.
So the first thing I do is, very visibly and loudly, the box that we were dealing with, I'm going to put that on my person in a very exaggerated and obvious way.
Right. It is a big box. It's about 30 centimetres by about 15 centimetres. Big, heavy thing.
Okay, instead, I'm going to turn around to Lady Vale and say, Lady Vale, don't let that out of your sight. Get someone else to also not let it out of their sight. He unclips. It's very well put away. He unclips the revolver. Says, "These things don't like loud noises or technology. I don't know why they're here, and I'd like to use the pistol to intimidate rather than to. I'm not trying to hit them.
How are you using it to intimidate? Are you going to fire a few shots off?
Yeah, it's a few warning shots. It's not.
Okay.
It's like I'm not aiming. I'm going for loud flashes, so like plenty of shots rather than...
Okay, all right.
These are what I think they are, yes?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a weird one, because you're using... You're intimidating, but with your gun. So, can we have...
Could I go for a ranged light, but trying not to actually kill them?
Or agility plus coercion in a weird combination?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Actually, give me...
is...
Yeah, it's all right. Give me a normal ranged light, but what that is a amalgamation of coercion. Like if you had any points in coercion, I would have given you those as yellow dots rather than green. But considering you don't, just roll me a normal ranged light, and we'll see what's what.
And it's 1 difficulty?
Yeah, they're only at short range.
3 success, 2 advantage.
Okay. You fire off a couple of shots from your revolver. It shatters the glass in the big window behind the heads of some of the guests, and there is a crack of the shot as it fires, and then another, and then another. These are exactly what you think they are, and they are not reacting as you would expect. They are not aggressive people. They are not a threat normally. They certainly don't work coordinatedly like this, and they flinch clearly as you shoot, but they do not scatter. They don't run away. So your success here, Ed, is knowledge rather than actual success. They are not reacting as you would expect. They are not intimidated by your shots ahead, and you are entirely correct that should have scattered them, because they fear people. They fear the technology.
I say loudly, something's wrong. They should have fled at that sort of display of violence. They're cowards.
It is now the turn of the creatures. The creatures that actually act and not the ones right in front of you. And you see coming out of the gloom behind them another set of approximately half a dozen of them. They are similarly brandishing weapons. And you see from the group of them, they're all wearing kind of brown Hessian. It'd be kind to call them robes. They are sheets that are around them and over their heads. So they look somewhat uniformed in a completely non-uniform way, but they are wearing the same sort of fabric. And as that group moves up into short range, you now see there's about 12 of them. And that's all they can do, unfortunately. So, next.
I mean, I'd like to open fire at them as well.
Okay.
I'm going to maneuver to draw my gun from a discreet inside pocket.
Yep.
And move, and I will move so I'm relatively near the window, the window, the table where Heek is, and so on. And I will fire a shot, but I'm not aiming to miss. I'm trying to aim directly at them.
Yeah. We've tried being nice. That is not what Savril does.
Yeah. Savril doesn't do that.
It's actually a nice display of the two characters and the two character kind of philosophies.
Pain is intimidating. 3 success, no advantage.
Okay, so what's your base damage?
Base damage is 4.
So 4 damage, 3 successes is 7 damage in total.
Okay. You pull your revolver from your side, aim it carefully, and let off a shot, cracking the almost silence of the shocked atmosphere you have, following on from what the captain has done. But your shot aims true, and the centre one of these amphibious attackers takes a shot right in the shoulder, which would have knocked a normal man off their feet. But as it happens with many people who don't necessarily have a history or a knowledge of guns, it rocks. Doesn't knock it down.
Yeah.
It stumbles a little bit, but they start moving their way forwards. And it's now their turn. They move in through the broken window, moving in almost like a predatory way, making their way over, but also with short hops. They cast the distance between there and now by a leap. Not uniformed, they all kind of go at different times and then climb their way through the window. One of the things you notice as they climb their way through the window is one of them catches their hands on the glass in the shattered window frame and does not react to the cut. You notice it as it moves its hand off as it climbs in. There is black ichor blood on that jacket thing, and it did not react as it did that. Adam, you're quite close to where the window is, aren't you? Because you backed into it. So I would like for them to have a bit of a go at you. Just bear with.
Yep, I have a melee defense of 2 between my robes and my staff. So that's 2 setback on there.
Cool, thank you very much. One of the creatures, as it gets through, drags what looks to be a large jawbone kind of club round and spins. Not aiming so much as you are there and you are moving, so it flicks out at you. But with your senses and with that brief inclining that you know what it's going to be doing because it thinks it out before it acts it, you're not able to matrix out of the way, as it were, but you step back and the club harmlessly swishes in front of you. They are there to cause harm, quite clearly now.
Yeah.
as you're a lot closer to them now. They're about 5 feet, but if they stood up fully, they'd probably be closer to 6. They have a very amphibious-looking face, but jagged teeth in a very wide mouth. So kind of a cross between an amphibian and a lizard kind of mouth. They're kind of smooth skin, but you can see very light scaling. And their claws, which hold on to these, they're sophisticated, they're holding the weapons, but their claws are big and jagged, so even if they didn't have a weapon, they would be a threat.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
I'd like to take next, if
Yep.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to yell down the corridor.
Mrs. Tolvin, lock down the kitchen and get the spare bullets.
And then I would like to step into the dining room and
Yep.
shoot one of them. Specifically the one that is trying to take a swing at the Calanat.
Yeah.
My pistol is already out, so I'd
Yeah.
like to just take aim and... Well, not take aim, because that's an action, but
Yeah.
just raise my pistol and...
Yeah. Okay. It is difficulty 1 because you've moved back into the room, so you're at short range.
No successes, but 2 advantage.
Any ideas what you might want to use your advantage for?
I would like to put it off balance, so I haven't hit it, but I, winged it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's taken it in the weapon or similar, that it's just knocked it off balance.
Yeah. Do you want me to add some disadvantages to its roll for next time?
Yeah. Yes,
Cool.
I think so.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds fair. Okay, so your shot cracks out, and as it swings for Adam, you catch on its big jaw type weapon with the shot, and parts of the weapon's teeth, the jagged teeth, spray out, just causing it to falter on its attack. It's possibly helping with the attack missing, but certainly distracting it from that blow. It snaps its head up to look at you. As it does so, it has noticed you have entered the fight. Not all of them are through the window yet, but they're all close enough to Adam that they're at point blank range. So next turn they'll be.
And it's my turn.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to stumble back and then almost fall over, but then manage to catch myself with my staff and make my way to the other side of the table, so I'm standing next to Lady Hale and the box. I'm going to shout, "We need to get to somewhere more secure. There are too many windows. We need to get to somewhere more safe. Is there anywhere in this house we can go to?"
The drawing room. There's limited windows and only one means of entry.
Thank you. You may need to blaze us a pathway, the 3 of you. And you, well, the 4 of you, also Captain. And I kind of nod towards Captain Sato. And then for my action, Mikey,
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly bring my right hand up and pass it over the veil that covers my eyes and go, "Neridia, grant me the sight beyond sight. Expand my senses so I can see my way safe through." And I'm going to activate Farsight to push my ability to see out to medium range rather than just short.
Excellent. Okay, so is there a roll, or do you just put a dice in?
It is a force dice. I've rolled a dark side point. I am going to use that. Now, can I clarify?
Yes.
How are we doing that? Because the traditional way is to use a dark side point. I have to flip a light side point and take strain, or you could do it so I just take strain without having to flip. I'm happy either way, it's just so I know.
I don't like the flipping of points because you spend a dark side. I am happy just to take the strain. There might be instances where you take strain and I ask you to flip dark sides, but they're going to be very specific.
Yep. Where my hand passes over the veil above my eyes, the silver traced runes start to sparkle and become visible, reflecting a moonlight that cannot be being cast in this room because of the roof overhead and how far in I am. And I feel my senses push outwards, but they are tainted by the bleed off from whatever is in that box. So everything that I can now see beyond my normal field of vision is limned in a almost ultraviolet purple flame that accentuates the worst aspects of everyone and everything I can see. The shadows seem deeper. The creatures that are breaking through the window seem more bestial. There seems to be threats lurking in every corner, and the fear that's coming off everyone else in this room oppresses me and pushes down on me as I've opened myself up.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. You can. It almost turns into a nightmarish scape because of the fear and the violence that's happening at the moment. You know, when you do this normally, there is not this kind of oppressive darkness to what you see. But where in times of great strain or great stress, it can affect how your vision comes across.
Normally they are illuminated as if by the lights of the moon shining down.
Yeah.
Now they are being lit up by an entirely different light.
Okay, thank you very much. So back to the top, but before we go through that, I'm going to describe what happens to the rest of the group. People snap to attention. Anybody who I haven't described as acting at that point starts acting. And people like Dusk come to their senses and start making their way out of the room towards the drawing room. You also hear the sound of what we all know to be blaster fire, but is almost a chemical sound of shots. Of anybody who's ever seen the weapons that LeRoux has, you know that these are quite powerful ancient technology, and somewhere in the house guns are being used. Lady Ville picks up the box, and you can see that she's straining on the weight and starts making her way out of the room. Helpfully, all she really says is quickly, so it gives no indication about what she's doing, but she's going towards the drawing room, as it were.
I'm going to say,
Wait, stop, kitchen, no, not dining, drawing room, go to the kitchen.
Okay.
I have just remembered that Mrs. Tulvin is in there, and if there is sounds of other blaster fire, then that's where they're coming from, so let's get everyone together.
Okay. We're back to the top of the round, but I think with the estate under assault and the violence and combat in full flow, that is where we're going to end it today. Who are these people? Why are they attacking? Are they called for by the gem? Do they need it? Is that why they're here? Is there some other sinister plot that we're not necessarily privy to at this moment? LeRoux is alive, but very badly injured. The crystal is bound in a box which clearly can't contain it. The LeRoux estate stands on the brink. Its fate and yours are teetering in the balance. The question is not whether the enemy will break through, but how long you can hold them off. The night is far from over, and that's where I'm going to end it tonight. So thank you very much, players. It's been lovely to get back into the GMing seat, and we will see you next time.
But wait, before we leave you, this episode's patron is Enoch. Thank you so much for supporting us, Chief. It really does mean a lot that you're able to throw something into the hat, even if it's only for a while. And that goes for all of our patrons, really. We know that times are tough at the moment and are getting tougher, and the fact that you're able to carry on throwing a little bit of something our way to help with the cost of hosting and all the music subscriptions and sound effect subscriptions and everything else that goes into the show, really, it makes a difference, and it makes a difference emotionally as well, to know that you care that much about this little world we've built, this little community that's gathered around us, the stories we're telling. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave now before I start getting too maudlin. So just to say once again, thank you very much to everyone. Thank you very much to our patrons for your support. Thank you to all our listeners for listening. Thank you very much to the cast for playing. Thank you very much to Mikey for running. Look after yourselves, my loves. Remain delightful. And we will see you all next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon, at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.